History stretches back a really long time. By definition, it stretches back as long as anything can. That leaves a lot of time and room for treasures to get left behind, ancient artifacts to become lost, and even for entire cities to get buried in the sand. Every now and then, though, an ancient wonder from a bygone era is suddenly rediscovered. From unexploded bombs and gigantic jewels to lost yo mama jokes. These are several amazing ancient discoveries only recently unearthed. The coast wasn't clear. Diving can be an incredibly fun and even magical experience. You get to soak in the wonderful colors of the ocean, meet curious little aquatic friendlies, and sometimes even discover an ancient, cursed Neptunian blade. Okay, no, what you're looking at isn't some kind of storm-infused sword from a fantasy novel. It's a real weapon that was discovered off the coast of northern Israel by a diver back in October 2021. The sword dates back around 900 years and is thought to have been the weapon of a crusader attempting to conquer the Holy Land. It makes sense the sword ended up in the sea, as many crusaders found themselves engaged in battle the moment their ships reached foreign beaches. The owner of this particular blade was likely a powerful warrior, as the weapon weighs 4 pounds and is 4 feet long. So it'd be like wielding something the height of a child with the weight of a 2-liter bottle of soda. That makes it slightly heftier than the typical weapons of the period. Still, if it ended up in the ocean, it likely wasn't enough to save the unlucky wielder. The sword then lay dormant for 900 years before shifting sands revealed it to the world once more. The diver, Shlomi Katzin, was happy to donate his discovery to a local museum, but everyone wanted to grab a few pictures with it first. Can you blame them? I mean, it certainly makes for one heck of a profile picture. No bones about it. In 2011, heavy machinery operator Sean Funk was going about his regular workday. He operated a cable shovel, a large machine that moves hundreds of tons of dirt a day. All of a sudden, the bucket clinked into something hard and unusual. Inspecting the strange rock, Funk and his fellows were surprised to find what appeared to be row after row of sandy brown discs. It was some sort of fossil, and an absolutely massive one at that. Not long after, paleotechnicians were called in to assist in the excavation. They encased the mysterious fossil in plaster to protect it and began slowly moving it, before it suddenly snapped in half under its own weight. The team was utterly devastated, but luckily, all was not lost. Lab workers at the Royal Tyrrell Museum began the grueling process of restoring the fossil. And finally, after 6 long years, they unveiled the Nodosaur. This lumbering beast was an herbivore that roamed the Earth approximately 110 million years ago in what is now Western Canada. The Nodosaur was a truly impressive creature, weighing in at a mind-boggling 3,000 pounds and measuring a monstrous 18 feet in length. The Nodosaur had incredibly dense armor on its back, apparently thick and spiky enough to have resembled a pineapple. What's more, this unusual beast also boasted a basic form of camouflage, known as counter-shading, where an animal's coloration is darker on the upper side and lighter on the underside of the body. Many species still use it today as a way to make themselves less conspicuous in their natural habitats. Makes you wonder what even larger dinosaurs this big beastie was trying to hide from. Time-worn cyborg. Would you give your right arm to go down in history? Well, someone certainly did. A group of treasure hunters in Switzerland armed with metal detectors made a remarkable discovery back in October 2017. Digging through the rock and dirt near the shores of Lake Biel, they unearthed a strange, beautiful metal hand. The unusual bronze hand was adorned with a gold cuff and contained a socket at the bottom. This means that the 3,500-year-old hand was once mounted on something, perhaps as part of a statue or on a scepter. Or maybe this is evidence of humanity's first ever cyborg, dating all the way back to the Bronze Age. Archaeologists found this discovery so strange at first, they weren't sure if it was real or not. Keen to uncover the mystery, they began digging around the area where the hand was found. Before long, they discovered an ancient grave, a spiral-shaped hair ornament, a broken bronze finger, and the bones of an adult man. It's currently theorized that the man in the grave was someone important to the people who constructed it. The bronze hand may also have been fashioned and placed with the deceased to replicate a lost limb before his journey into the next life. Think what you will, I'm still placing my bets on a Bronze Age cyborg. Maybe that arm can unfold into a cannon? Man, this is starting to sound like the plot of a sweet new ancient anime. Ghost Begone. Fear is a natural response that's been part of our collective unconscious for thousands and thousands of years. It's fear that keeps us safe from things that might hurt us, like spiders, ghosts, clowns. Ugh. Now, amazingly, researchers at the British Museum have found proof people have always feared one of those things, at least. Back in October 2021, an ancient Babylonian clay tablet was uncovered in the gloomy vaults of the museum. More than 3,500 years old and only just large enough to fit in the palm of your hand, the tablet doesn't look like much at first. But on closer inspection, the museum's curators realized it contained the first ever depiction of a ghost. As you can see, the bearded spirit is being led along, hands bound, by a woman. The tablet's meaning was previously misunderstood because, eerily, the ghost image only comes to life when viewed under light from a certain angle. Even more exciting is the purpose of the tablet, which includes a series of instructions and images informing the reader how to deal with unwanted spirits, like an ancient WikiHow. The instructions for the would-be exorcist on the other side of the tablet demonstrate a surprising amount of compassion for the ghost. They suggest an unwanted spirit may be lonely and in need of companionship. The reader is instructed to create 2 small figurines, dress them finely, and set up some beer for them. The spirit will then apparently be happily escorted to the underworld. As a culture, I think we've really regressed in 3,500 years. We've gone from helping ghosts to busting them. Hot plate mistake. What's the most valuable thing in your kitchen? Some classy cookware maybe? A slow cooker? A juicer you paid $400 for and immediately broke trying to make some sort of weird pork rib smoothie? Well, whatever your kitchen contains, it won't compare to what a 90-year-old woman in France discovered when she was preparing to sell her home. For years, she had this painting hung above a hot plate in her kitchen. Thinking it was simply a cheap print, she tried to sell it on. But when an auctioneer saw it, their jaw hit the floor. They quickly realized it was a long-lost piece of artwork from celebrated Italian master Cimabue. The painting, Christ Mocked, is more than 700 years old, and nobody had any idea how it ended up collecting bacon fumes in a French kitchen. Initially, the auctioneers thought the painting would be worth between $350,000 and $460,000. However, to be on the safe side, they brought it to the auction of Eric Turkin, a master appraiser. Turkin informed the auctioneers it was likely worth between $4 and $6.5 million, more than 10 times their initial assessment. Hold on to your butt though, because Christ Mocked eventually sold for $26.8 million. If this had happened to me, I'd be thrilled to see the money, but kicking myself that I'd waited until I was 90 to get the painting appraised. How this one slipped pasta? I'll never know. Have you ever found anything valuable or unexpected in your home? Let me know down in the comments. And if you want to make an incredible discovery every day, be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons down below. Alright, where were we? Yo mama so old? How do you want to be remembered when you die? Through a great work of art, fond stories told by your loved ones, a sprawling business empire, maybe as the inventor of a good Yo Mama joke. Wait, what was that last one? In 1976, archaeologist J.J. Van Dyck uncovered a cracked 3,500-year-old tablet in Iraq. The tablet then mysteriously vanished, but Van Dyck luckily noted what was inscribed on it. It took until only a few years ago for scholars to finish translating the ancient text. And what pearls of wisdom did the old stone slab have to tell the world? Jokes! Seriously, the ancient slab contained a series of riddles with comic answers. Or jokes, if you want to be unscientific. They pertain to beer, politics, and get this, Yo Mama. The current translations and understanding of how the joke is told leave a lot to be desired. As it is, what remains of the riddle reads, "Of your mother is by the one who has intercourse with her. What or who is it?" It's lacking a little in pizzazz, isn't it? If we modernize it a bit, it might sound more like this. Your mama's like a 5-foot-tall basketball hoop. It ain't that hard to score. Thanks, I'm here all week. As bad as that joke is, though, it's good to know even in ancient Babylon, people were making fun of each other's mothers. Scroll Call. Ninjas were essentially the special forces of medieval Japan, doing jobs no one else could. If you were able to harness their secrets, you'd be able to slip through crowds undetected, pilfer priceless treasures with ease, and fart in an elevator without anyone noticing. Well, wish no more, because in 2018, Japanese researchers discovered an ancient ninja scroll written some 300 years ago. The scroll was penned by a ninja in training known as Inosuke Kizu, a warrior of the Iga clan, which protected a mountain town near the capital of Kyoto. The scroll revealed that the ninja code was incredibly strict, with Inosuke promising never to reveal the secrets to his children or even his brothers. Towards the end of the scroll, Inosuke promises that if he ever revealed any ninja secrets, he would be punished by big and small gods across over 60 provinces of Japan. This promise might have meant more if he hadn't signed it at the bottom of a document discussing the ninja code. Can you imagine being in trouble with big and small gods? Even the Z-listers want a word with you, Inosuke. Gem of a find. Zambia is a country whose surface is teeming with life. It's home to the enormous Mosi-oa-Tunya Falls, the Big Five of African wildlife, and the world's largest man-made lake. I bring all this up only to highlight how nuts it is to live there and work a job that requires you to spend your days 40 feet underground. That's the tough life of an emerald miner, though. Recently, in 2018, the Zambian Kagem Emerald Mine unearthed something very special. An enormous, brightly colored emerald weighing in at 2.5 pounds. The gemstone has been dubbed the Inkalamu, which means lion in the local Zambian language of Bemba, and measures in at a staggering 5,655 carats. It's okay if that number doesn't mean much to you. We can't all be emerald hunters. A carat is the unit of measurement used to weigh gems like diamonds or emeralds and comes in at about 0.2 grams. Keeping in mind that the Inkalamu weighed 5,655 carats, typical emeralds can sell for anywhere between $200,000 and $18,000 per carat. Eventually, the Inkalamu sold for a phenomenal $50 million. In the end, the Inkalamu turned out to be quite the find. And I ain't lying. Oh no, Picasso! Movies lead us to believe that art thieves are brilliant, competent, and suave individuals who have a cunning plan for every eventuality. But it turns out that's not always true. Greek construction worker George Sarmantzopoulos was a bit of an art freak. A painter himself, George visited the National Gallery in Athens constantly and became taken with a few particular paintings. So taken, in fact, he decided to take 'em. For about 6 months, George would walk through the gallery, taking note of camera positions, painting locations, and guard shifts. In January 2012, armed with several construction tools from his day job, George was able to sneak into the gallery at night and make off with 3 works of art: Picasso's A Woman's Head, Mondrian's Mill, and a sketch by Italian master Guglielmo Caccia, which he got blood on and flushed down the toilet. Definitely not a criminal mastermind, this guy. Even so, George got away with the crime scot-free for 9 years before the police reported they were close to finding the thief in 2021. Panicked, George moved the paintings to the only place he could think of: a ditch. He threw a near 100-year-old Picasso worth $19 million in a ditch. Not long after that, he confessed everything to the police and led them to the location of the paintings, and they were carefully recovered and cleaned. George, ditches are not for art. They're for unimportant things like dirt, rocks, and the cars of people who leave nasty comments under my videos before mysteriously disappearing. Garden Variety Balm. Gardening is meant to be a relaxing activity, a way to take some time out, tend to your flowers, and remove the giant explosives in your backyard. Well, if you're Ian Royce of Victoria, Australia, anyway. Ian was cleaning out his garden when he discovered a several-foot-wide, 550-pound undetonated explosive. The bomb in question was an ocean mine dating back to World War II. These mines were covered in thin spines and would explode if anything brushed against them. These kinds of mines were typically attached to long chains on the ocean floor and were used to deter foreign ships and submarines from approaching important territory. After the war, it wasn't uncommon for these mines to be decommissioned and used as incinerators. Fortunately, it was this kind of decommissioned mine Ian discovered in his garden. But how he didn't notice the enormous bomb next to his azaleas is a question that has sadly gone unanswered. Ian eventually sold the bomb for $3,000, but still had to move it. With a little elbow grease, he was able to chuck it in the back of his truck. Look, I know it's decommissioned, but I think driving through Australia is scary enough without having a giant bomb in my trunk. Thank you very much. Gimme some tongue. Have you ever been so persuasively eloquent that someone described you as silver-tongued? Well, I know someone who can upstage you. Back in February 2021, archaeologists excavating the ancient temple of Taposiris Magna in Egypt struck gold, but not in the way they expected. Surveying the depths of the Ptolemaic structure, the team discovered a 2,000-year-old mummy with a brilliant golden tongue placed in its mouth. The tongue is made from a golden foil, and archaeologists currently believe it was meant to act as a charm of sorts, ensuring the deceased could speak and communicate in the afterlife. It's also possible the individual in question had a speech impediment or lost their tongue before dying, hence the need for a replacement. That wasn't all, though. The team also discovered this incredibly eerie sight: a woman in a full-body death mask. When someone important died in ancient Egypt, a mask of their face would be created and placed on the body. This was so the deceased's soul would know which body to return to when the time came for it to journey on to the afterlife. As the name suggests, though, a death mask usually only covers the face, making this find unique. Kinda looks like she's smiling, doesn't it? Maybe she was holding that face for 2,000 years waiting for the perfect photo op. Pompeii and circumstance. How would you feel if a desk doodle of yours survived for 2,000 years? Remembering some of the stuff I wrote on my desk, that'd be pretty embarrassing. But incredibly, some recently discovered doodles from a forgotten era have actually helped rewrite history. Back in 2018, excavations uncovered and translated a piece of graffiti written in Pompeii, the ancient Roman city destroyed by a volcanic eruption nearly 2,000 years ago. The graffiti itself is fairly tame. XVIK Nov, which means the 16th day before the calends, or 1st of November. So the 17th of October. The thing is, it's written in charcoal, something that should have been washed away by rain in just a few months. The fact that it's lasted preserved beneath the ash and debris of the past until now indicates it was written shortly before Pompeii was wiped off the face of the earth. Thanks to this, it might answer an age-old mystery. Ancient historian Pliny the Younger, who witnessed Pompeii's volcanic demise, documented the event 25 years after the eruption and recorded it occurred in the summer. His account is one of the oldest remaining recordings of the event, but this timing didn't jibe with certain things discovered in the ruins. Many of the bodies discovered were wearing warm clothes, unfit for summer, and were drinking unseasonal wines. If the graffiti was written in the year of the eruption, this may put an end to the summer versus fall debate. This isn't the first amazing piece of graffiti from Pompeii they've discovered, however. Pompeii graffiti ranges from the bizarrely simple, "Today on April 19th, I made bread," to the heartbreaking, "Fibius Restitus slept here alone and missed his darling Urbana." And then there's the downright hilarious, "Chie, I hope your hemorrhoids rubbed together so much they hurt worse than ever before." Honestly though, most of Pompeii's graffiti is actually too raunchy for me to read, even today. If only they had social media back then. Just imagine the ancient trolling. Ram with a plan. The Sphinx is one of the most iconic Egyptian symbols there is. It's up there with the Great Pyramids of Giza, the Valley of Kings, and a Gad sandwich shop on every corner. There, a little joke just for the Egyptian viewers. Love you guys. Did you know, though, that the classic human-headed Sphinx isn't the only kind there is? As it turns out, there are a lot, so many in fact that they've discovered some new ones very recently. In October 2021, Egyptologists uncovered 3 giant stone ram heads in Karnak Temple. The heads were built during the Ptolemaic period, between 2000 and 2300 years ago. The rams were likely part of the nearby Avenue of Sphinxes, a 1.7-mile road between Luxor and Karnak Temple. The Avenue of Sphinxes is a wonder to behold, featuring 700 statues of different shapes and sizes. It was once paraded along for celebrations, and in its heyday was thought to feature 1,350 sphinxes. That's the equivalent of about one sphinx every 2 yards. And you thought public transportation was crowded. Though the rams' heads are currently broken off their bodies, archaeologists are working hard to reattach them and return the sphinxes to their former glory. Beware the king bear. Even if you've never come face to face with one, I think we can all agree that bears are intimidating animals. Heaps of muscle, incredibly powerful jaws, razor-sharp claws, and if you're a salmon, forget about it. What if I told you, however, that scientists recently discovered something that makes the strongest grizzly that exists today look like Winnie the Pooh in comparison? This is an ursine skull, discovered back in 2017 by archaeologists in Walakba, Alaska. The skull has been determined to be around 1,300 years old and is thought to belong to a previously undiscovered species of polar bear. Now, this thing might look big and intimidating on its own, but just look how big it is when compared to modern bear skulls. The skull measures in at a beastly 16 inches from nose to back, and may lend credibility to the local indigenous legend of the king bear. In the folklore of the local Burnuk people, the king bear, also called the weasel bear, was a monstrous 12-foot-long bear that roamed the icy Alaskan wilderness. When asked if bears the size of the king bear could still be wandering the Arctic, one scientist quickly answered that they certainly could. Remind me not to visit Alaska for ... quite a while. Footprints in the sand. It might surprise you just how far back evidence of human life really goes. The oldest garment ever discovered is the Tarkan dress, which dates back 5,000 years. Older still is the world's oldest city, Uruk. Uruk was an ancient Sumerian city in Mesopotamia and was founded a staggering 6,500 years ago. Before even that is the world's oldest wood carving, the Shigir idol, which was found in Russia and dates back an insane 12,500 years. This means the Shigir idol was carved by human beings during the Ice Age. But if you can believe it, something was recently discovered in the White Sands National Park that's nearly twice as old as even the Shigir idol. These are footprints found in the New Mexico Park, which are an estimated 21,000 years old. This makes them the oldest footprints ever found in North America. What's more, these footprints tell a story. Based on the size and indentation, researchers were able to figure out the age and walking speed of the people that left these footprints behind. It's believed they were left by about 16 people, who were mostly teenagers and children. It's theorized that the younger members of prehistoric tribes were given tasks like searching and foraging, so they may have been out looking for wood or vegetation. It's nice to know that even 21,000 years ago, teens were being forced to do chores with their annoying younger siblings. Wow, we really live in a crazy world with plenty of amazing discoveries being made every day. What are some recent discoveries that have blown your mind? Let me know down in the comments below, and thanks for watching.